Hi again, welcome to VUB's lesson on test and paragraphs. You'll soon learn what the acronym test means, and I'm excited to share this with you. I'm going to break this presentation into two parts so that it's not a really huge file. You could take a break in the middle, and just to give myself time, I guess, to have a sip of water while I'm talking. So I'm going to hit present now and start to show you this PowerPoint that I've created for you all, and I hope that you find this helpful. Okay, so we are talking about this acronym TEST, T-E-S-T, and using it to write thoughtful paragraphs. So the T in TEST means topic sentence, and we will cover this more in depth soon. The E represents evidence or examples. The S refers to the summary that every paragraph needs, and the T stands for transitions. These can be words and or phrases that help link one idea to the next. So when we talk about test, this is what we're talking about. Most importantly, every sentence in a paragraph has to refer back to the topic sentence. So we cannot have any extraneous information in a paragraph. We should be able to identify the topic sentence and then go through, sort of like going through a checklist, sentence by sentence. How does this elaborate on or refer back to the topic sentence? And if it doesn't, we cut that material, maybe save it for a different paragraph, maybe just delete it. We can talk about that with the editing process. So a topic sentence. We want this to be the first sentence of a paragraph for our purposes. When you're in more advanced writing courses or when you find yourself in upper division courses, you'll find different styles of writing and you won't always put the topic sentence first. But for now, this is a great habit to get into. By and large, in all academic writing, we want that topic sentence to be the first sentence. So you are telling the reader right away the main idea and your position on that idea. So you're not holding out to give the reader any surprises. So an example I found from an old student assignment is the bears of Yellowstone need to be protected from poachers. So you can clearly see that the topic is nice and specific, the bears of Yellowstone, and their position is that they need more protection from poachers. Good topic sentence. Evidence can also stand for examples, and this is what makes up the bulk of your paragraph, is your attempt at supporting your topic sentence, elaborating on it, showing the reader why you have the position that you have, so on and so forth. So this student said, bear populations are fragile, they're closely tied to environmental factors, bears are an important part of managing other parts of the food chain. So if we were to go through these examples or this evidence and say sentence by sentence, does it relate to the topic sentence? We would find yes, they need more protection from poachers. Okay, why? Because they're fragile. They need more protection from poachers. Why? Because they're closely tied to the environment. They manage other parts of the food chain. So the student is trying to make this case for why bears deserve more protection, and this is the student's evidence. The summary statement. It's a very important part of a paragraph. You're really showing the reader that your ideas are wrapping up now. And even if you are going to continue on a slightly different topic, you'll find it still important to summarize the ideas that are in this paragraph and then transition into the next, which we'll talk about in a different lesson on essay writing. But for now, you want to make sure that the reader understands that the paragraph is done. I always say that a paragraph without a summary statement is sort of as though someone just quit talking mid, and that's what it feels like to read a paragraph without a summary statement. So this student said, with careful management, the bears of Yellowstone will help to ensure the majesty and natural balance of Yellowstone's ecosystem for years to come. So student wanted more protection from poachers. student claimed how important bears were, what an integral role they play in the environment. And so you can see how that logically leads to this summary statement that they need help, um, and they tie into the ecosystem. So you are not just echoing your topic sentence. I want to make this very clear because this will apply to essay writing as well. The summary statement is really, I always tell students to imagine that your reader is an angsty teenager, right? And they're looking at your writing and they look like this, you know, and they're just looking at you saying, with their arms crossed, very poor body language, saying, so what? So why should I care? So, right? And so your summary statement, and this applies to the conclusion of an essay as well later, your summary statement answers that. You know, this is why this matters. This is why I've taken the time to write this paragraph. This is why you've taken the time to read this paragraph, right? So you take that very specific topic statement and then you apply it to that question of, so what? Why should I care? What's the big idea, right? And so that's what we do with the summary statement. And transitions are the last piece of the acronym test. And like I said before, they're words and phrases, and they help the reader move from one idea to the next. They're very subtle, right? So we've got this example, you know, that we added in the word since, or we added in the word therefore, and it's just these small touches. So you can see that maybe the first draft of the student's paragraph said, their populations are fragile, period. They are closely tied to environmental factors, period. You know, bears are apex predators, period. So what we do is then we say, okay, how can we sort of combine thoughts, relate one thought to another, and have these thoughts flow more as they do when we're speaking. And that's really the goal, right? Ultimately, is that we've got this nice symmetry between the way we speak and the way we write. And so, as we're working on our writing, we're also thinking about our speaking and our reading, and all three of these, you know, forms of communication and literacy are all improving. Okay, and so what we also want to make sure we remember are titles. When you're writing a paragraph for an English class, your teacher will expect you to give it a title. And don't forget that we talked about how helpful the colon can be, right? So whatever comes before the colon is your main topic, and then whatever comes after can sort of almost like mimic your topic sentence. It can give the reader an idea of your position, because in academic writing, we strive not to surprise our reader. We want our reader to know exactly what they're getting when they begin to read. And so we might write something like this: protecting Yellowstone's bears, ensuring the balance of an ecosystem, right? And so there you've got this nice paragraph, and it starts right off with the topic sentence, and it goes through the evidence. It's got some transitions, and then the summary statement makes it very clear that it has concluded. And so I'm going to stop this recording here, and we will continue on with test and paragraph writing in just a moment. I hope that you found this helpful.